Let's talk about the one skill that, above all others, is the real key to success. Forget talent, forget luck, forget even your IQ. We're talking about something you can start building right here, right now.
So if you had to put all your chips on one single quality, one single trait that every great success story has in common, what would it be? Really think about it. Is it being a genius, being charismatic, or just being born with some kind of raw talent?
It's self-confidence. That's it. Because without it, none of those other skills really matter, do they? The moment the pressure's on, the moment you start to doubt yourself, it's over. But here's the part that changes everything.
All right, let's get right into the first big idea. Most of us go through life thinking that some people are just, well, they're born confident, and others aren't. But that's a complete myth. Confidence isn't some gift from the universe. It's a skill you build from the ground up.
I love this definition from Dr. Ivan Joseph. Think about it. Self-confidence is simply the belief in your own ability to get something done. It's that unshakable conviction you hold on to when the odds are stacked against you, when things get hard, when everyone else is telling you it's impossible.
And this is probably the most empowering thing you'll hear all day. If confidence is just a skill, that means anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn it. You are not stuck. You can develop it, practice it, and master it, just like you'd learn to cook or play an instrument.
So the big question is, okay, how do we actually build this skill? Well, it really boils down to two fundamental things. There are no magic pills, no secret formulas, just these two keys that unlock absolutely everything.
The first key is just relentless, mind-numbing repetition. You've probably heard of Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000-hour rule, right? It's the same idea. You don't just wish for confidence, you earn it through practice. So when that big moment comes, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I've got this. I've done this 1,000 times before.
Let me tell you a quick story about this. Dr. Joseph tells of this goalkeeper he coached from Colombia. The kid had hands like stone. Seriously, they called him Flipper because every time a ball came at him, he'd just slap it away. The solution? Brutal repetition. He had to make 350 catches against a wall every single day for 8 months straight. He came back with calluses on his hands, but you know what? He could catch anything. And today, he plays professionally in Europe. That's what repetition does.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. When you're practicing, you're going to fail a lot. And if you quit after the first try, or the 10th, or the 100th, all that repetition is for nothing. And that's where the second key comes in, perseverance.
Just look at this number for a second. 12. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 different publishers. Can you imagine getting that 5th rejection letter? The 10th? 12 times, an expert told her that this story, which would go on to change the world, just wasn't good enough. The self-doubt must have been crushing, but she kept sending it out. That right there is the definition of perseverance.
And if you think 12 rejections is a lot, how about 10,000? That's roughly how many times Thomas Edison and his team failed before they finally invented a commercially viable light bulb. Not 100 times, 10,000 times. That's 10,000 perfectly good reasons to give up. But he famously said he didn't fail. He just found 10,000 ways that won't work. You have to train yourself to see failure as a stepping stone, not a stop sign.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the internal battlefield. Because honestly, the biggest thing that gets in the way of perseverance is that little nagging voice inside our own heads.
You know the one I'm talking about? I'm not good enough. I'm going to fail. What will people think? Here's the deal. There are plenty of people out there in the world who will tell you that you can't do it. The last person you need on that list is yourself. You have to fight back against that voice with intentional, powerful, positive affirmations.
I mean, come on. Who said it better than this guy? Muhammad Ali didn't wait for the world to crown him the greatest. He told himself and he told the entire world long before he had the belts to prove it. He believed it into existence. That belief is what fueled every single punch.
So here's a really practical tool you can use like today. Dr. Joseph talks about a time he was in a slump, his confidence was shot. What did he do? He wrote a letter to himself. He wrote down everything he was proud of, getting his PhD, winning a championship, being a good dad. It was basically a letter of congratulations from himself to himself. So when those moments of doubt hit, you have a written record of your own greatness to fall back on.
Some people take it a step further with a physical trigger. You remember those yellow Live Strong bracelets? For Lance Armstrong, that wasn't just a piece of rubber. It was a physical anchor. When he was in the middle of a brutal race and doubts started creeping in, he could look down at that bracelet and it would trigger his affirmation, be strong. You can do the same thing.
A ring, a keychain, anything that snaps you back to that confident mindset.
And look, this part is completely non-negotiable. Building confidence is hard work. It's almost impossible if you're surrounded by people who are constantly tearing you down, doubting you, or laughing at your ambitions. You have to protect your mindset. Surround yourself with cheerleaders, not critics.
Now, let's flip the script for a minute. Because as parents, coaches, managers, or teachers, we have a huge responsibility. We can either build up or tear down the confidence of the people who look up to us. So how do we do it right?
This is a beautifully simple but incredibly powerful technique. So imagine you're coaching a team. Your player, let's call him Johnny, makes a mistake. Your first instinct is to yell, "Johnny, that's not how you do it," right? But that just crushes his confidence. So instead, try this. Ignore Johnny's mistake for a second. Look around and find another player, Frida, who's doing it perfectly. And then you loudly praise her. "Frida, that is textbook. Amazing technique." What happens? Two things. Frida's confidence soars, and Johnny, he hears the praise, he sees the right way to do it, and he self-corrects without a single word of criticism. It's brilliant.
And this isn't just some feel-good theory, it's backed by research. A study in Kansas looked at athletic teams. When coaches showed the players tapes of their mistakes, the team barely improved. But when they switched and only showed the players tapes of their successful plays, what they did right, the team's performance went through the roof. What you focus on grows.
All right, this all leads us to the final and maybe the most important point of all. Because when you truly build self-confidence, it doesn't just change how you act, it fundamentally changes how you see the world.
This story just says it all. So Dr. Joseph asks the woman who would eventually become his wife out on a date. She says no. So, okay, he asks her again. Maybe she didn't see him in the right light, whatever. The rejections continue. Finally, her friend comes to him with a message directly from her. She says, and I quote, "She will not go out with him unless hell freezes over and he is the last man on earth." Now, for 99.9% of people, that's a pretty clear no. But a confident person interprets things differently. He heard that, and his genuine first thought was, "So you're telling me there's a chance?"
And that is the secret sauce right there. Confident people don't just passively experience life, they actively interpret it. They take feedback, setbacks, and even flat-out rejection, and they filter it through a lens of opportunity. They choose to see a path forward where everyone else sees a dead end.
So if you forget everything else we've talked about, please remember this. Confidence isn't the reward you get after you succeed. It is the mandatory starting point. No one, not a coach, not an investor, not a boss, not an audience, no one will ever truly believe in you until you first believe in yourself. So the only question left is, are you ready to start believing?